We'd like to welcome you to our April, what's today, the 20th? I lost track. 19th? Okay, good. Whew, I get one more day in April. Our April 19th Town Council meeting and our Student Citizen of the Month, which we love. This is our favorite. I'm Jen Daniels. I'm the mayor of Gilbert. And with me today, we have Vice Mayor Bridget Peterson, Council Member Victor Peterson, Council Member Jared Taylor, Council Member Eddie Cook, Councilmember Jordan Ray. I saw him. He might be in the lobby. I think he's talking to somebody. And then Councilmember Scott Anderson isn't able to be with us tonight, but that's your whole town council, and we're all here because we want to be here to see all these amazing students. So thanks so much for letting and taking some time out of your evening so that we can honor these great kids. There's one special thing that I'd like to do right at the beginning, and I don't know how many of you saw this. Councilmember Jordan Ray, thank you. Grand entrance, excellent. I don't know how many of you saw this in the news probably a couple months ago, but there was a beautiful young woman who attends one of our Gilbert schools, and she produced a video with the help of her parents. And I want to show this to you, and then I want to talk about it just a little bit, especially with all of the youth that we have here. Thanks, Lauren.
Ugly, stupid, dumb. These are just a few of the things you call me. Every day you say these things about me. Every day I wear your words. Every day I carry the weight of your labels. Every day I struggle to shed your words from my thoughts. Mom, Dad, friends, family. I fight to remember the words of those who love me. But your words are so loud, I can barely hear. Beautiful, funny, talented, smart. I like to read. I like to draw. I love music. I am good at math. I am a sister. I'm a daughter. I am a person, and I have feelings. Every day, I wear your words. And every day it hurts. Every day, you are hurting me. Every day, you're hurting each other. I don't want to wear your words anymore, so please stop. Stop hurting me.
I'm not a real emotional person, but every time I see that, I get a little choked up because I think about the youth in this community, and I'm really proud of the kids that live in Gilbert. I have 4 of them myself. I spend a lot of time in our schools and get to participate with a lot of the youth, and we have a Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, and they're all doing great things. And so when I saw that one of our Gilbert youth was in pain like that, I wanted her to know that this entire community actually stands behind her and against bullying. So Kalani, come on up. Thanks for being here today. This is one brave 8th grader that I have no doubt is going to have no trouble in high school. But thank you all for standing up for kindness in Gilbert. We have an incredible program. It's our Gilbert Kindness Program. And Lauren, will you hold up that jar of kindness coins? We're going to leave this in the back. Our Gilbert Kindness campaign started before we ever saw Kalani's video, but it was a reminder to us that we need to reach a little farther and extend kindness a lot more often right here in the town of Gilbert. So Kalani, you are leading the way. Thank you for being brave and bold and for standing up for what's right. I have a special gift for you. This is made by one of our local Gilbert businesses. It says, "Have courage and be kind." I wrote a little note to you specifically on the back. You can read that later. But I want Kalani and every single kid in the town of Gilbert to know that their community cares for them, that we want them to be successful, and we will stop at nothing to make sure that every child has the kind of childhood that they deserve. So thank you so much. Thank you to each of you. Thank you to Kalani. Do you want to say anything?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you a lot. This means a lot, and I get choked up every time I watch my own video. And I can't believe that I'm standing here meeting the mayor of Gilbert and standing in front of all these people. And just thank you so much. Thank you, my family. I love you guys. And yeah.
Those are some good parents. I actually can't believe I'm standing here meeting you, just so you know. You're awesome. Thank you so much for being a great example. Take a kindness coin on your way out. Make sure you pass it along. Thank you. I forgot to mention too, when you do an act of kindness, we are going to use the hashtag tomorrow, have courage and be kind in the town of Gilbert in honor of Kalani. So take a moment to just reach out to someone else. And I appreciate you allowing me to take just a couple minutes to do that today. Thank you, Kalani, and your parents are pretty awesome too, so thanks. All right, now to the other thing that you all came here for. We are so grateful for the teachers that are here. I think teachers have had some tough decisions, and there's been a spotlight on teachers in the last little while. I think the spotlight should always be on teachers and that we honor them and show appreciation for them. So if you are a teacher, administrator, school professional, personnel, if you have anything to do with our schools, will you please stand so that we can recognize you? It's supposed to be a night off, but you came here to support students, and I just want to express appreciation. We do get to do one little fun thing. All the teachers that nominated someone, their names are in this bucket that our Vice Mayor Peterson has, and I need a helper. Can you be my helper? Come here. You don't mind, do you? Oh, come on. It's really easy. I wouldn't make you do anything hard. Tell us your name.
Grayson,
Grayson, how old are you?
4.
You're awesome. Are you going to go to kindergarten next year? Okay, good. Well, you're the perfect age to help me. I need you to pick someone's name out of there. I won't make you read it, though. Not yet. Next year I will. All right. Is Mrs. Mahone from Riggs Elementary here? Oh, she's here. Sometimes we get them. Thank you for your help, Grayson. You can have a seat. Mrs. Mahone, we have a special gift card for you, so thank you for taking the time. I'm just going to flip these slides real quick. Like most of your schools, we also practice the pillars of character right here on the town council. And this month's pillar is trustworthiness. We wanted to draw your attention to that. They're also listed on the board over there. We have 2 sponsors that help us with this program. Sal's Gilbert Pizza, right across the street here from Town Hall, who's an amazing community partner. They do great work. And also the Nitro Live Creamery. It's where science and ice cream come together, and nothing goes wrong when you put science and ice cream together. So it's good. Thank you to both of those organizations that provided a coupon in the kids' packets. We did that. We're super efficient, and now we're on to this part. All right, we do this really organized and in 3 different groups. So the first group will be all of the elementary school kids who go to either Ashland Ranch Elementary all the way down to Islands Elementary. Thank you. A to J. So Ashland Ranch to Islands. If you are one of our Student Citizens of the Month and you go to one of those schools, will you please come down and Councilmember Ray will help you find your spot. We have Lauren Oxford here. Lauren is from our digital team, and she's going to be taking pictures. She's in the ideal spot for photos, so when your child comes up, if you'd like to come down, this is the right area to do that. And also, all the photos that she takes will both be on Facebook and Flickr. pretty quickly. So if you want that little professional picture, they've got that too. Did I miss anything? I got a little distracted because I was so excited about Kalani being here.
I think you caught it.
Got it? All right, we'll get started.
All right, we'll get started here, and I will do the best job I can pronouncing everybody's names, and if I get it wrong, please tell me, okay? Alexander Douglas from Bridges Elementary. Give him his bag. There we go. That's how we do it. Just like that. Lily Brissett from Burke Elementary. Carol Ray's next. Alexandra Rollier from Carol Ray Ranch. Shout out to Mrs. Cruz from Carol Ray, 6th grade teacher. Charlize Ware from Centennial Elementary. They're over there, right over here. Samuel Larson from Christ Greenville Lutheran. Peyton Kuhn from Christ Greenfield Lutheran. Austin Nieva from EduPrise School. Rylan Nink from Gateway Point Elementary. Kylie Frankham from Gilbert Elementary. Anna Kelly from Greenfield Elementary. Sophia Untalan from Highland Park Elementary. Molly Buvala from Higley Traditional Academy. Alyssa Brown from Houston Elementary. What is he? Oh, the first one? Okay, Camilo, I'm going to try to get your name correctly. Camilo Alixavide. Score one for the vice mayor. Sometimes you never know. That's the last one.
That completes all of Group 1. Come on up, we'll take a group picture. I think little brothers should be included. Let's bring little brothers into the picture. That'll work. That's good. That's a good big brother over there. Thank you, Group 1. I think he wants to be the council member. That's good. All right, Group 2, come on down. All of the rest of our elementary school students. And we understand it's a school night too, and there's Ames testing and all sorts of AZ Merit stuff tomorrow. So if you have to leave after your child gets there, we're not offended. We understand. So, but Group 2, come on down.
We're not. We're not offended. We're not offended. Okay, here we go. Jaden Mendoza from Mesquite Elementary. Oh. Oh, it's Jade. It's Jade. Jade Lieberenz from Neely Traditional Academy. Oh, look at her. Lieberenz, yeah. Sometimes you just go with what you know. Alyssa Ortiz from Oak Tree Elementary. Vanessa Ruiz Avila from Patterson Elementary. Austin Nowak from Pioneer Elementary. Gloria Rodriguez Edens from Playa del Rey Elementary. Angelina Rodney from Power Ranch Elementary. Alyssa Gruber from Riggs Elementary. Lucas Riebel from Santan Elementary. Mason Marshall from Settlers Point Elementary. James Foster III from Spectrum Elementary. Patricia Maeve Lloyd from Town Meadows Elementary. Choose kind. Oh. It's perfect for this evening and always. Milo Hancock from Val Vista Academy. Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to see behind it. There you go. Get that. He's got a little swag. I like that. Gen 2, Jen's gonna be, yeah.
All part. It's just the best.
It is the best color. It is the best color. Is there another color? What?
All right, group 3 is all of our junior high and high school students. Come on down.
love how Lauren just stays still. She like stands there and she stays still when everybody keeps taking pictures. I know. I've noticed. Tonight's been pretty good. That's it.
That needs to go on the newspaper.
Okay, first up is Hannah Vermillion from Campo Verde High School. James Walker from Canyon Valley High School. Carson D. Bond from Cooley Middle School. Hold up your plaque, Carson. There we go. It's getting bossy, right?
Can we just talk about bullying?
Brianna Valentine from Higley High. She has our colors on tonight, too. Ethan Olson from Leading Edge Early College. Nope, not tonight. Catherine Squires from Mesquite High. Hunter Fenn from Mesquite Junior. No. Carly Sabin from Payne Junior High. Faith Mastis from Perry High School.
Yeah.
Maestas. I told you to tell me if I didn't say it right, so. Faith Maestas. Yes. Alicia Huerta from Sossaman Middle School. Alicia Huerta. Huerta. My daughter went to school with a Huerta. Taryn Toombs from Sossaman Middle School. No, I mean, do we have kids? We have names, we have kids. I didn't think so. I'll call the last name anyway. Macy Mayer from South Valley Junior High.
That's it, right?
That's it. That's it. The mic to call the scouts down.
Thank you all for being here. That does conclude our program. We'll start the business of our council meeting in just a couple minutes. Have a great night.
Can I please have all the Boy Scouts come to the front of the room? It's just easier to call them down here than to go searching for them. I know they're all back there, but see, they follow directions.
The scouts.
They're scouts.
Hey, what?
Do we know what the That's supposed to hurt. We don't know. It's tomorrow. No, you're good. You're fine. They basically told them to go on in certain districts.
Welcome back to our April 19th Town Council meeting. We will look to Vice Mayor Peterson to assist us.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some great Boy Scouts down here that we'll introduce in just a minute, but we're going to have Ty lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's over this way, Ty.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Please just give us your name and rank so we get you to introduce yourselves.
Ty Hall, and I'm a first class.
I'm Jerem, and I'm a first class.
Kale Randall, and I'm second class.
Andrew LaRue in first class.
Charlie Randall, and I'm first class.
Matthew Johnson, tenderfoot.
Nathan Rogers, star.
Isaac Dayton, first class.
Matthew Shoup, first class.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to have the Scouts here for the evening. And as you see, I handed you all a pocket constitution as a gift from the mayor and the town council. Thanks for being here, and thanks for participating in our meeting. You're adjourned. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Scouts. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Jared Taylor will offer the invocation for us.
Our Father in heaven, we're very grateful that we can be gathered here tonight in these favorable circumstances. We're grateful for this wonderful town and all the wonderful people that are in it and the families. We're grateful for our first responders. We're grateful for our military. We're grateful for all those that work hard to defend our freedoms and individual liberties. We pray for their safety. We pray for their success in their labors and endeavors. We pray that we'll be able to know and understand and do thy will tonight. Is our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Councilmember Taylor. The clerk will conduct the roll call.
Mayor Jim Daniels. Vice Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Scott Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Eddie Cook.
Here.
Councilmember Victor Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Jordan Ray.
Here.
Councilmember Jared Taylor.
Here.
The quorum is present.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any communications from citizens items this evening?
Mayor, I do not have any slips for anyone to speak.
Okay, thank you. That'll move us to the consent calendar, and I look to Vice Mayor to assist.
Mayor, thank you. I have only heard about one item that we would like to have pulled off of the consent calendar. If anybody has anything, if they'd like to speak up now. Okay, thank you. Then, Mayor, for the consent calendar, we have item number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8A. We're going to pull 8B. That includes A, B, and C. And we have 9 and 10. So I would move to approve that consent calendar as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Aye.
Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. There we go. And that motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. That moves us to agenda item 8B.
Mayor, I asked to pull that item, and I'm going to do something a little unusual here, which for me probably is is usual for me to do something unusual. I'm fine with this item. I think that it makes sense that we need to finish the whole park so that it can be fully available for use. I think the taxpayers are going to get their best value out of it, regardless of what its final destiny is. My only concern is to use the PR 111 transfer to that. I would rather we just use contingency for all of it. And yes, that means that PR 111 will be sitting there carried forward next year, and that's just the way I'd like it. So with that, I am ready to make a motion. If someone else does, I'll just move to amend if they don't agree with that, but either way.
Councilmember Cook.
Just a quick comment. I had some concerns about PR 111 and the funds going away because I know that we'd asked staff to look at a couple options as it relates to what we might want to do. I mean, in my mind, I would love to connect the parking lots together and maybe extend more parking, and I would hate to lose those funds, to another, to this particular project. But after talking with staff, they're thinking that this is a high priority. We did talk about the possibilities of using contingency funds. So I'm okay with it, with it the way it is, but I do, I know they're going to give us a presentation in May on the options for what we want to do with this.
Thank you, Councilmember Cook. Anyone else want to weigh in on this one before we have a motion? I'm okay with it the way it is as well. Generally speaking, when we have funds dedicated to a certain project, there is some, I guess, level of satisfaction that those dollars won't be exceeded. And for me, a contingency request would, I think, need to be noted a little bit differently. And the process for contingency funds is a little bit different as well. So,
Mayor, I move that we approve agenda item 8B.
Second.
Mayor, I move to amend the motion to change the contingency amount from $141,500 to $712,000.
okay, we're voting on the motion. Or the amended motion? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second on that, so it's for the amendment. Councilmember Cook has asked for a...
We're voting on my amendment, just so everyone's
Correct.
first.
Okay, everything should be cleared? Okay, thank you. Vote. Councilmember Anderson? Aye. That motion carries with a 4-0 vote. So now we're voting on the amended motion.
4-3, Mayor, sorry.
Did I say 3-4?
You
Sorry.
said 4-0, but anyway, it's fine.
4-3, my apologies. So now we're voting on the amended motion.
Yes.
The amended motion. That motion carries with a 6, Councilmember Anderson. Aye. 6-1 vote, thank you.
Mayor, I made a mistake. That should have been a yes.
Do we need to procedurally call for a revote?
Yeah, that would be best, Mayor.
Okay. We'll revote on that last amended motion. Councilmember Anderson, thank you. Sorry, it's probably difficult to follow exactly what we're doing here. That was a little tricky, but thank you, Councilmember Anderson. That's a 7-0 vote. That completes the consent agenda and moves us to the public hearing items. Are there any requests to speak on public hearing items?
No, Mayor, I have none.
Okay, any from council?
14, please.
14? And 16? Oh, excuse me, 16 is an admin, yeah. 14 is the only one? All right, I will open the public hearing on agenda items 11, 12, 13, and 15. I will close the public hearing on those agenda items and entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve those items.
Second.
Please vote. Aye. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. I will open the public hearing on agenda item 14. Councilmember Peterson? Oh, Councilmember Taylor.
Mayor, thank you. I wanted to make sure I understood the, so I know we clarified that we don't have, this has to do, just for the people following this, some changes to our special event guidelines in the town. And if I understand correctly, and maybe I'll just start with the town manager, then you can call whoever you need. This doesn't affect private activities, private special events, whether it's on private or public land or properties. Is that, because there's already existing things to take care of that. Is that what we understand here?
Mayor, Councilmember Taylor, I'd like to direct John Kennedy to come up. He'll be more than happy to answer any specific questions.
Mayor, Councilmember Taylor, thank you for your question. So the entire code would not apply to private events on private properties. That is correct. There are circumstances where private events on public property do need to follow certain codes, certain parts of Chapter 15 codes.
So if, let's take like Constitution Week as an example. If they rent a school like they've done in the past, so it's a private facility or a public facility like a major high school, the town would treat that as a private event. I know they have in the past, but I want to make sure if we're supporting this, we're going to continue to treat that as a private event. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, in Chapter 15 code, there is a provision for exempting school district property from being being considered a special event. Okay. Events held on school property.
Okay, then if a private entity like Constitution Week, I keep using that example, is coming here on the town grounds, and that's where it's still a private event, but it's on the town property, so then subject to some of the town regulations there. That's how that'll be treated, right?
Mayor and council member, yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Mayor, I'd be happy to move to support unless there's other comments.
I had a quick question. John, you can come back. What if it was an event on like HOA property? Is that also exempt? You've got an HOA that could govern that event?
Mayor, Councilmember Peterson, yes, a private event on HOA property would be considered on private property and would not be covered by certain special events.
What if the public was invited to that event? Would that open it up to those requirements?
Yes, if it's open up to the public, it would. If the HOA event is only for the HOA members, it would be considered a private event.
I see. Okay, thank you.
I'm not so sure that I agree with that. And we might need to clarify that, because that gets to the core. I'll give you a case study as to why that's not, I think, consistent with what we want. When we had Constitution Week at Highland High School, it was many years ago, but it was during the whole immigration heated issue. J.T. Reddy was there. There were signs there. Constitution Week, under the guidelines, was obligated to have public safety there, so they had off-duty cops there. When the commotion started, the cops were able to get those people off the property. And these people were saying that their First Amendment issues were being violated, and they said, no, this is a private operation, it's a private entity, and therefore you're subject to removal of this event. Even though everybody was invited to it, because it was a private entity doing it. So I think that distinction is important, because these private entities do need to be able to hire security detail, and there's potential First Amendment implications too as well that I think are important here. That's why I'm trying to make sure we get this right, because there's some implications here. So,
Denise and John, do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Mayor, Councilmember, I do want to correct a misstatement I made earlier. The Constitution Fair example of being on school property, since that's not a school-sponsored event, it would be a private company running an event on the school. If the public is invited, yes, it would be considered a public event, a special event, and does fall under the Chapter 15 because it is because it is open to the public. So that was my misstatement, and Denise, the master of the special events, was smart enough to correct me. So
keep going.
So, and Denise, you know, I think you're awesome. We've been to lots of events with you guys. I think we really need to look at that, because if you don't have, just because we invite the public, I don't think that necessarily means it's a public event. It's still operated by a public operator, and it could be or be not on town or district or private facilities, but those people do need to have some legal protections to be able to take action, like removing protesters without having First Amendment cases fall on their head. So it may be something that we just need to talk a little bit about. It's a problem I think we can resolve. And
is that something that's actually prohibited in this code? Because it's my understanding it can still be considered a private event on public property, which is what we're talking about. It's a private event inviting the public. It's privately run. If the town is running it, town taxpayer dollars or whatever sponsor it, there's a different standard. Councilmember Cook, you had a question?
This goes back to a question related to the Morrison Ranch a couple years ago, where they had the Christmas lights that were decorated on their street. And again, the videos and the viral videos that went out created, the unintended consequences of what would be considered public, but it was really private to their neighborhood. How does that work? Because we know that, working with the HOA, obviously we needed, traffic control, because it did create a lot of traffic issues on there. I'm kind of curious now, how will that be treated based upon what I'm hearing here?
Mayor and Council, that is a reason why we want to have this, even though it's on private property, if it's open to the public and the potential of public safety hazards, whether it be traffic related or health related, we want to make sure that they're all following the town code and guidelines of what can happen on that property or not on that property. We get a lot of events that are happening on private locations, but they're open to the public and bring thousands of cars into an area that was not meant to have thousands of cars in there. So that example is exactly what we're looking to do.
Let's do this, Denise and John, if it's okay with you. If we delay this vote, let's continue this item. I think there's still some outstanding questions, particularly certain council members have some outstanding questions, and perhaps we can just do a little bit more of a deep dive with those council members and then come back. I think comprehensively, we all want to ensure that all of the special events that are held within the town of Gilbert are safe, and that we have the appropriate either security personnel or traffic control devices in order to make it a successful event. And I think that's the ultimate goal. I think we're all on the same page as it relates to the goal. So let's just go back and do a little deeper dive in some of the language and make sure that we understand it. Is everyone okay with that? Okay, so I will close the public hearing on agenda item 14, and we'll need a date certain continuance motion.
Next council, May 3rd, or is that too busy? There's a lot on that.
Let's do May 3rd, because if everyone's questions are answered.
Mayor, I move to continue item 14 to the May 3rd council meeting.
Councilmember Ray seconded that. Please vote.
Aye.
That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. That actually completes our public hearing items, I believe, and moves us to administrative item, agenda item 16. Councilmember Peterson.
Mayor, first of all, I want to just point out the obvious that this is just a notice of intent at this point, and so I'm probably going to oppose this, even though I know it's not do or die. We're not adopting any fees yet. But let me explain my concern real quick. If you go through the schedule of proposed fees, you'll notice there's only one fee that is not proposed to be full cost recovery. And it's funny because I think it's completely backward. That should be the one fee that is full cost recovery. And the reason for that is it's the pre-app fee, which is optional. In other words, our reasoning for lowering the fee is to encourage people to go through the pre-application process. That's really it. Why? Because they don't have to. They're not mandated to do so. So that's, to me, totally backwards. My idea of cost recovery, and I'm very consistent on this, is that whoever's responsible for the use of a resource should be the one who's paying for that resource. That's how you get responsible use of resources. That you disconnect those two and then you get waste. So what I would insist, really, I think the better policy is on any of the optional stuff, it should be full cost recovery. However, when it comes to most of these items, can we get, Kelly, can you pull up the slide? I want to just show the design review fee, because that's really the one that's giving me a lot of trouble. Yeah, I mean, it's germane because I don't want to notice to intent these, anyway. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to raise the fees, so that's why I'm discussing it. So anyway, you'll notice when she pulls up the slide that our design review fee is already pretty much at the top of the market comparably. We're already at the top, and we're going to double it. So the next lowest comparison is like less than half of what we're proposing. We're talking about design review. First of all, whose rights are violated if someone builds an ugly building? Seriously. Okay? Second, you'll notice we're going to be way out of line with the market. Now, I understand there's an argument, and it's reasonable, that the public benefits from design review. But if the public benefits, then the public can help pay for it. I don't think we should have full cost recovery on things like this that really aren't protecting anyone's rights. And in a lot of cases, it's over the top. It's a stretch for me as far as even the role of government. But why should we add insult to injury? It reminds me of Thomas Paine when he says our calamity is heightened by the realization that we furnish the means by which we suffer. And that is what we're seeing here. So I will continue to press for full cost recovery on anything that's optional, that other people have control of whether or not those resources are used. But on things like this, especially when I think 90% of what we're asking for here is outside the scope, I will not support that. So I don't know if anyone else is open to revising the notice to have full cost recovery on the pre-app and then keeping all these other ones where they're at, which means they don't need to be on the notice of intent anyway, but then I would support that. But otherwise, I'm not in favor.
Thank you. Councilmember Cook?
Councilmember Peterson, let me ask you a question because I'm trying to follow the logic. You're saying that the design review cost of $6,825, you're saying that's way out of line. And do you know what it should be? I'm kind of curious what that number you think is, based upon your analysis, would be.
To be totally frank, because I don't think we should be involved in it, 90% anyway, we could probably lower it, frankly.
But again, I'm just asking, do you have an analysis that shows
I don't
what
know
that might
exactly.
be?
It's a difficult question because you get into numbers and it becomes somewhat arbitrary.
'Cause I'm thinking
I can't
about-
give a definite number, but there's no need to raise it, in my opinion. Like I said, you can see the fees of like Chandler, okay? And that's kind of, I don't know, you have to do some math with some acres, but generally it looks like Chandler's our next closest. And they're at $23.95 plus 105 per acre. It's going to take a lot of acres for
The
that.
only reason why I ask, because, Chandler must do something, and we may be doing something. I'm just trying to figure out apples for apples.
There's a little footnote there. I don't know if you guys can read that. It talks about engineering fees, does other charges that they might have. So no two jurisdictions do this the same way, and I think that's an important note, that while we're trying, and obviously as transparently as possible, trying to show what other jurisdictions charge for, there's obviously additional fees and some other probably unknowns, if you will.
I'll make you a deal. If we make design review optional, I will not only support cost recovery, I will insist upon cost recovery. How's that? Anyone up for that?
Now, the next question I have, back to the cost recovery of the pre-app. You're saying that you would like it to be 100%, the $25.98?
For any pre-app that's optional, I think most of them are. I think there's some exceptions, but yes.
And you're thinking that is that the correct price as well?
It should be full cost recovery because they have the option whether or not to use those resources.
All right. So it sounds like, to me, I can't answer the full cost recovery of the design review one. That would be the only unknown for me right now.
I'm just saying leave it where it is. That's all, Eddie.
So there's a benefit to the town to having a pre-app. And Linda, maybe you could touch on that, which is why essentially we are incentivizing, let's call it, people to go through the pre-app process. But there's a specific reason that we covered in the financial retreat that might be beneficial for the public to hear.
Yes, thank you. That is correct, Mayor and Vice Mayor and council members. Mr. Peterson, if I could just make one note regarding your comment on optional pre-apps. So with general plan, rezoning, preliminary plats, and most commercial projects other than those that are infill or pad development, a pre-application is required. And following up with what the mayor just noted, the requirement actually saves our applicant time and money, and it also saves all of our staff time, because many times what we find is if someone is not familiar with our codes or regulations or is building in other cities or out of the state of Arizona, when they come and submit a formal application, the first review comments are enormous, and they spend so much time going back and fixing things or modifying things, or in many times they're not aware of the infrastructure that is available or its location. They're not aware of the development reimbursement and lien agreements. Sometimes they don't even know the correct zoning on the property, and they're designing it to the wrong standards. So it is very beneficial, and many times those applicants who choose to go optional pre-apps, it's because they modify their project significantly and come back for another pre-app, or they really do want the help in figuring out Gilbert's way of doing business before they submit and put a lot of money into a formal application.
Mayor, my only comment to that is if it's beneficial and they have the choice, it should be worth the value that it costs. And if it's not, then there's a problem. So that's my comment there. I've said my piece, and we'll just see how this goes down.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Ray.
I'll make a quick comment. I am going to vote in favor of this tonight because this will set the limit that it can be. It can go lower, but I do have some concerns with the design review fee, and so I will. My vote tonight is to set the standard as it is, but then we will continue to talk about this before we actually approve anything, because I think that this one is probably. I don't think actual cost recovery is appropriate here. So.
Thank you, Councilmember Taylor.
Mayor, I think if we'd notice something, it should be our best work, and I agree with Councilmember Peterson that this isn't our best work. I mean, number one, there's way too many regulations, which is driving the costs. So that's one thing that we need to see some significant work on. I know you guys talk to people just like I do. They have projects, and it's regressive. People don't want to deal with the major fees. They don't want to deal with, going back to planning 4 or 5 times on little nits and gnats and things that really are not that material and important to public safety. So to say that we have a bad process and we have to justify those costs, I just don't think that we have our best work going forward. So I don't see a reason why that we need to waste the public's time with money that is based on processes that are a little convoluted. So I'm not going to be supporting this tonight.
I'm not sure that's a totally fair statement for our staff to say that our processes are both convoluted and that they are onerous. We have more growth in the town of Gilbert than we have ever had. We have more applications, permit applications, desirability within our community, and our team has worked extremely hard through Six Sigma programs, as well as through additional over-the-counter administration approvals, all sorts. We have an entire menu now of options, and I think to call our processes and the hard work that our staff has done to streamline those processes bad work or bad processes is absolutely disingenuous, and I can't let that be the last word that's said here. So I just want to make sure that's really clear. Councilmember Ray.
I will comment. We can always do better as a community. I have been to a number of ribbon cuttings lately, not near as many as Vice Mayor Peterson or the mayor. But of the last, I've been keeping track of this, of the last 19 I've been to, only one of those businesses has complained about anything, and it had nothing to do with the fees. It was simply some of the inspection efforts, and I've talked to staff about that. But I don't think it's fair to say that it's terribly difficult in Gilbert, and it's a very hard place to do business. Can we do better? Absolutely. And everyone, council and staff, agrees that we can do better, and we're always trying to improve it. But I would put our processes and procedures against anyone else's, and that doesn't mean they're perfect. But we are one of the best, for sure.
Mayor?
Thank you. With that.
Mayor, the language I'm using is from our residents. So those are I know you have a different view, and that's okay. But I represent people that have seen excess and poor processes. They've seen exorbitant fees on their projects. We've gotten emails of those. So we're here to represent the people, and that language I'm using comes from people that have struggled with these processes. And they're small businesses that have to pay these massive fees. The big businesses can deal with them. They've got lawyers and all.
Councilmember Taylor, I would invite you at any point in time to visit our development service, stand next to them, stand hand in hand, go to customer service, stand at the counter, and really take a good hard look at some of the processes that we have, because again, they can be improved, no doubt about it, but the message should never be sent that Gilbert is a difficult place to do business. If there's something specific you would like the town to improve on, I guarantee you Kyle and his team would be more than happy to take that feedback. So with that, let's move forward. Let's have a vote. If there's a motion, I will. Oh, Councilmember Anderson.
Can I just add something real quickly? Let me give you some historical perspective. I participated in this process for many years, and I've seen hundreds, literally hundreds of cases processed during our high growth period. And during that time, the staff was able to maintain, and you can see the end product as evidenced by all of the developments happening in the town, how well it's developed. And I think that's because of the efforts of the staff and what they have done in the past, and they do, I know, right now. So I'm fully supportive of what you're saying about what is happening in our process. I've seen it firsthand, and I think we need to stay competitive with everybody else around us.
Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. At this point, we will entertain a motion on agenda item 16.
Mayor, move to approve agenda item 16A and B.
Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment, only because what Councilmember Ray said about we're just setting the limit here. I would like to set the limit of the pre-application as a proposed fee to 2598, and it allows some discussion, when we can bring this up at the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion. We have an amended motion, so let's vote on the amended motion, please.
Mayor, point of order. Can we reset the vote? Thank you.
All right. Voting now for the amendment. That motion carries with a Councilmember Anderson vote. Thank you, 7-0 vote. And now we will vote on the amended motion. Please vote again. That motion carries with a 5-2 vote. Thank you. All right, agenda item 17, boards, commissions, and committee reports. Anyone? All right, seeing none, we will move to our future meetings. We do have one additional item, May 17th, that will be heard, and our communications report from town manager and current events.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you. I wanted to point out a few highlights from the Global Village Festival that was held last weekend here at the municipal campus. We had roughly 5,000 people in attendance this year. We had 20 sponsors involved, 35 vendors, 6 different religions represented, 20 different cultural performers, 10 different cultural organizations involved, and 50 volunteers who helped put that on. And a great work by our Parks and Recreation staff who take the lead on that. And it was a very nice event for those of you who could make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Town Manager Banter. Report from council on current events. Seeing none, I have nothing additional to report from the mayor on current events, except for one little thing I just want to draw the attention to our council on. Vicki sent out an email about our fall retreat date changes. I'm hoping that everyone has had a chance to review that because we are in the planning stages. So confirming that everyone is available on those 2 days. The dates did change, so take a good look at that. All right. Is there a motion to recess our regular meeting and reconvene in an executive session?
Second.
Motion and a second, please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Councilmember Anderson, we will call you back from our E-session. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.